Welcome, class, to another famous and beautiful episode of Neil's GED Passbook. Let's get right into it. Today we are going to be doing adding and subtracting polynomials. Now I know what you're saying, Neil, isn't this technically combining like terms? Because what we did at the combine like terms video was exactly this. We were adding and subtracting polynomials. For example, 5x plus 6x, right? We added those, which ended up being 11, and all we did was throw in the x, right? Oops, what the heck, a v? What? An x, right? And that was the answer. That's how this is technically adding and subtracting polynomials. You're right, combining like terms is adding and subtracting polynomials. So, but what's different about this? The difference is the fact that you might get this type of problem in the GED, which happens to look like this. 6x plus 6 plus negative 5x minus 5. So you're right. A couple videos back, I did show you already how to add and subtract polynomials. But this is a certain type of polynomial. This looks eerily similar to the last episode I just showed you. The last video I just uploaded, which was the FOIL method, right? This looks like FOIL. And the reason why I had to make a separate video of adding and subtracting these types of polynomials is because they look so familiar. They look so similar to the multiplication FOIL questions. And the last thing I want you to do is get this in the GED, and then next thing you know, you start foiling out and you start doing this and that. That's the last thing I want you guys to do, because in this case, that is not what you do. What you do is add, not multiply, because if it was like this with no operation in the middle, then yes, you do have a FOIL in your hands and you have to actually distribute, right? Because that's how you multiply polynomials. But that's not what we have here. We have an addition, so we have to add them, right? And the difference between these and like terms is the parentheses, right? You can't just start combining like terms when stuff are in parentheses, in two different parentheses. You cannot do that. You have to get it out of the parentheses first. Same thing with the multiplication at the FOIL. We had to get it out and then, simplify. But that's the same case that we have here. We have to get out of the parentheses. How do we do that? With a addition problem or even a subtraction problem? Well, that is what I am going to show you. So let's do this. If you come across this, an addition symbol in between two parentheses, basically a binomial plus a binomial, this is what you do. Okay. The reason why I left this in parentheses was just I'm using those parentheses as an indicator of this negative 5. But in reality, it's the same thing as saying negative 5x, right? It's its own separate entity. That's all you do, you guys. You literally erase the parentheses when you have an addition problem. That is all you do. You erase that, you rewrite it, and now what do? You just do the standard combine like terms. That is right. Let me erase this because it's all I did was write two of the same thing. This is kind of a waste of time. So you combine like terms. If you remember how to combine like terms, or if you don't remember how to combine like terms, please go back to my video. I think this was step number 2 or 3, I forgot, or 4. It was showing you how to combine like terms. Go review that episode if you do not remember how to do this. But if you do, what do? You use shapes to indicate the like terms that look the same, right? Then, oops, I already used a circle, so I'm going to use a square for the numbers. And you just combine them. What's 6x minus 5x? Well, that's just x, right? 1x. It's the same as saying just x. What's 6 minus 5? Well, that's just positive 1 plus 1. And that's all you do. You might be confused. What about this plus sign? Well, that you got to understand that that's technically part of this one that was over here. All right, this is on separate. You were somewhat using these two. I should have done that first, right? A positive and a negative will still come out to be a negative, so that's why the plus, that operation just disappeared. It was technically just 6x minus 5x, which gave me my x there. But don't worry about that too much. All you have to know in the worksheet down below, and in any problem that you're given that that looks like this. I'm gonna rewrite the problem. Bear with me. If you come across this problem, all you have to know is that you have to erase the parentheses and you just start doing combined like terms. That's simple. If it's an addition problem, that's the simplest one. Let's move on to subtraction. All right, let's put this problem up here. So now we have a subtraction operation in the middle of these two binomials. So how do you subtract binomials? Well, this is what you do. It's so fun knowing these tricks. You just erase the first set of parentheses from the first binomial. And then, this is what you do. Do you see that little symbol there? The little subtraction symbol? Think of that, you guys, as a bullet. Alright, so I'm going to draw a little bullet there, right? Bullet, boom. And what it's going to do is speed through and pierce this this binomial inside the parentheses. It's actually going to pierce through it, alright? And it's going to go inwards, alright? It's going to go in. Somewhat as if it's going through a body, if you want to think of it. Because it's going to pierce through, and what it's going to do is any number, any term, I should say, inside those parentheses, its symbol is going to flip. So I circled this one. This was, even though it's not there, this was a plus 4x. And this one over here that I circled here was already a plus 3, right? A positive. I said plus. I should say positive 4x. And this one over here is a positive 3. So this bullet is going to go inward and is going to flip the sign of those terms. So if this was a 4x, what does it become now? A negative 4x. This was a positive 3. It's going to become a negative 3. And you erase the, parentheses. You forget about it. And then you have this, right? And then you drop that there, which creates x plus 16, our first set, right? And now you forget about every single thing else. The bullet did its job. This is your new look. Just like the addition problem. The goal is to get rid of the parentheses. The only difference between with the subtraction, when you're subtracting polynomials, is you have to flip the signs of the terms inside the parentheses of the second set of parentheses. So now you have this, right? What do you do? Well, again, combine like terms. I'm going to use a circle for this x, negative 4x. I'm going to use a square for that. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, look at that. These the circles, when you combine them, a 1x minus 4x. What does that become? That becomes a negative 3x, right? A 16 minus 3 becomes a positive 13. And then next thing you know, you are done. That's your answer. So that's pretty much it. The reason why I'm dedicating a whole video to this, I'm going to repeat myself again, is for you not to get this confused with FOIL. Not to get it confused with the multiplying of polynomials. You have to distinguish the two. You have to spot when something is being added, right, in comparison to it being subtracted. And you definitely have to distinguish all those two from something being multiplied, right? The multiplication one is the one with the arrows that you guys got to remember, right? And these ones up here is the tricks that I just showed you. It's all because of the inner operation. This one doesn't have one, so you think of it as multiplication, right? All it is that times that. These ones actually have a visible operation, so you do that operation. I don't know how much clearer I gotta leave it for you guys. This is simple. Go do work. Do the worksheets that's below. Ace it. And then we get to move on. So hope you guys enjoyed. And please like and subscribe and see you tomorrow.